Okay. All right. So up to this point, we have done grade 11 revision of financial maths. We have done future value annuities when we're saving up for something in the future and we have monthly payments. We've done present value annuities when we have a big bulk sum of money that, like a loan, that we pay off gradually over time. And now we're going to be doing finding the value of n. And you should have done finding n when you did logs. Can I actually just get an idea so that I know sort of where we're at in the chat? Can you just let me know if you've done logs in class? So like within, I think you would have done them in inverse functions. So logs, just say yes or no. So just so I can get an idea. Cool. Okay. Oh, I'm so relieved to see all these yeses. Whew. I thought all of a sudden I had this panic that people were not going to know what a log is. And I was like, we're going to have to take a big step back. Okay, great. Yay. Awesome. Okay, so when we're dealing with logs, the basic idea of a log is that if I have, I'm just going to write it up here. A is equal to B to the power of C. If I'm wanting to put that in log form, I would say log and then B. Ooh, it's running away from me. Let's just see what's happening quickly. Sorry, my screen has decided to have a bit of a temper tantrum. Okay, guys, I'm just going to stop sharing quickly and then I'm going to try and reshare because it's doing something funny, but I will get it back in a second. The joys of technology. Okay, there we go. Happy screen. Okay, we would have log B, A, and then that would be equal to C. Now, I personally find that quite difficult to remember. I don't know if anyone else finds it difficult to remember. So I like to think of it like this. If I have 2 to the power of 3, I know that that's equal to 8. That's something that I know. That's something we all know. We're just using our normal exponents. Now, when we're working with logs, logs are saying, what does this have to be to the power of to get to that? So if I had log 2 to the 8, it's saying what would 2 have to be to the power of to get to 8? And I know that that answer is 3. So when I'm working with logs, I actually write this out on my piece of paper as like a little cheat sheet to help me figure out where things are going to go. But if you're comfortable and you know where everything goes, you definitely can work with the A, B's, and C's, or you can just work with what you know. The most important thing is that if you're looking at it on your calculator, you need to be using that log button. Okay, so the one that says log, and then there's like a little colored in block, and then there's an open block. That's the log button that we're using when we're on our calculators, not the other log button. Okay, now that we've had a little detour through our logs, let's start looking at these questions. First question, a car depreciates, so it's losing value, on a reducing balance at a rate of 8% per annum. How long will it take for the car to depreciate to half its value? Which formula should I use here, A or B? Vote in the chat.
Reducing.
Okay, we've got our first answer. Let's see if everyone agrees. Okay, we've got some A's coming in. Okay, Ayush, can you please explain to me why you've chosen A?
So ma'am, as we know, depreciation, reducing balance is like the opposite of compound.
Well done. Beautiful. Because of this keyword over here where it says reducing balance, we know that it's the depreciation version of compound interest. And so our N is going to be to the power. Okay, so now that we've figured that out, so we know which formula we're going to use, let's think about what other information we have. We have our interest rate, which is 8% per annum, and we know that the car needs to depreciate to half its value. So let's sort of write up our grocery list over here. We've got A, P, I. Oh my goodness, you know what? I had a grade 11 who taught me something funny today when they write up this list. She always writes out, I teach at an all-girls school, so they're all girls. She writes it out as pain. So that's how she remembers it, because she hates financial maths. And so when she has to do these, she always writes pain when she does her grocery list. I found it very funny. Okay, so the car depreciates on a reducing balance, which means that it would be worth more than it is in the end, which you can choose what you'd want. It just needs to be half of what it was. So I'm just going to say that my original amount was 100 Rand and my after amount was 50. But that could be anything. It could be 1 and 2. It could be 1,000 and 2,000, as long as the one is half of the other. Then our interest rate is 8%, and N is what we are looking for. Okay, so can you please put that into the formula? And then if you're struggling with finding logs, that's okay. I will show you on the screen when we get there, but let's see if anyone manages to get N by themselves. So put it into your formula, try and solve for N using logs, and let's see if we can all get to the same answer. Once you have your answer and you're happy with it, you can put it in the chat for me, or you can unmute and talk me through what you did. Yes, absolutely. Just leave and rejoin. No problem. Okay, I'm going to start putting this into our formula. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm going to still give you some time to get there for those of you who are still trying. The most important thing when we start working with logs is that we don't round anything off to any decimal places. We need to try and keep the integrity of all of our numbers as we go. So first thing is we're going to divide both sides by 100. I'm going to do this like really, really slowly with you guys so that everyone is happy with how to do this, so that when we do the next questions, you feel a bit more confident. Now, the reason I said that these could be anything as long as one was double the other is because it's always going to reduce to a half on that side, which is why we were able to make it what we wanted. Now we're in a situation where we need N, okay, which means we need to use our log laws. So think about it, use this idea up here that we have in orange and red at the top, and see if you can figure out where we are going. I'm seeing some good answers. Sia, Ayush, both beautiful. N will definitely be 8,31. So if you haven't gotten there yet, just try put it into your calculator, see how it goes. But the answer we are seeking is absolutely 8,31.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah,
So
sure. What's
let's
the
say,
question?
they say, okay, let's say the answer is 8,31, or should we round it off to the nearest whole number?
No. So that's a very good question. We normally leave it fully as a decimal. So we'll say it's 8,3. Just this is saying how long will it take. You would literally just say 8,31 years. The only time we would have to be more specific is if they're asking for days or months, and then we have to be careful with our answer. But in general, no, don't round off.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thanks for asking. Okay, so I'm going to chuck this into my log formula here. I'm going to have log, and then down here I have it would be 0,92, which is just what I've got happening over there, and then a half, and that is equal to N. And if I chuck that into my calculator, I will get 8,31 years. Okay, cool. Does anyone need me to sit on this question for any longer? Just let me know. You can just write it in the comments, or you can let me know. Oh, sorry, Luyanda, did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Can I
Hi.
ask a question?
Yes,
Oh,
please.
hi. What you saw how they said it's the interest is 8% per annum. Why do
Yes.
we not use the 8 over 12? Like 8%
Okay.
over 12.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying. It's a good question. The only time we would say 8% over 12 is if it said 8% per annum compounded monthly. So whenever it says that last little bit, that tells us what we divide the interest by. So if it said 8% per annum compounded quarterly, it would be 8% over 4, 8% per annum compounded monthly, 8% over 12, 8% per annum compounded semi-annually, 8% over 2. Happy? Cool. Okay. All right. Let's move down to example 2. Okay. So 3,000 Rand is invested in an account that earns 11% per annum compounded semi-annually. So Leander, that's what you were asking about there. How long will it take for the money to triple in value? So think about what you have to fill in. Let's write our pain down on the side. Okay. Think about what your P is, think about what your A is, think about what your I is, and N is what we are looking for. Okay, so give this one a go. I'm slowly going to start putting some information in. So if you're struggling, you'll be able to see what's going on. But have a read through the question again and start organizing your thoughts and then put it into the formula you think that it should go into. Okay, I'm going to start putting in some information on the side. 3,000 Rand is invested, which means that's the amount of money I'm putting in. So my P is 3,000 Rand. An account that earns 11% per annum compounded semi-annually. So semi-annually means twice a year. So I'm going to have 11% over 2. How long will it take for the money to triple in value? So that's telling us that the A amount needs to be triple our P amount, and our N is what we are looking for. They've told us that it's being compounded, which means we're going to be working with A equals P, 1 plus I to the power of N. So let's see how it goes from there. I'm going to warn you that it has a slight twist at the end when you have your answer. So be careful when you give me your final answer. So once you've got your answer, you can put it through in the chats, and then we'll sit here and see if there's any questions, and then we will move our way down. Oh, we have our first answer. Now, I like that answer, but it's not my final answer. See if you can figure out where it goes from there. Sorry, my writing is so big. I'm trying to keep my camera on so that I can sort of communicate with you guys a little bit better, but I have to, my writing is quite awkward. So you're going to have to excuse my writing. Ooh, okay. I'm seeing a 10,26. And then I've got some 20,52s. Let's see. I can tell you that one of you is right. Let's see if anyone wants to change their answer from what you have. I'm telling you either 10,26 or 20,52 is right. No other takers? Benedict, are you certain on your answer? You do. Can you tell me why you think you would divide the final answer by 2? Okay. Because of semi-annually, exactly. So when we put this into our formula, we get this beautiful answer of n equals 20,52. So lots of you got that, which is awesome. And that would be the bulk of the marks. So if that's where you stopped, that's okay. The trick is they said, how long will it take? And this is 20,52 time periods. It's not years. That's how many payments I would have made because I'm making 2 payments a year. So from here, I would say 20,52 divided by 2 because I'm making 2 payments per year. And that gives me 10,26 years. And that's where we would end our answer. So well done for everyone who got to the 20,52 and an extra well done for those of you who got to the 10,26. That was awesome. Nice. Okay, can I move past this question? Just let me know if you need it. Okay, cool. So this one we're going to break up a little bit, just because if you've chosen the wrong formula, things just fall apart. So let's talk it through. Dave wants to save 235,000 Rand in order to buy a new car. He can afford monthly deposits. Now remember what it means when you read the words monthly deposits, okay, of 15,000 Rand. If interest is earned at 9% per annum compounded monthly, how many monthly payments are needed? Which formula should I use here? Okay, so write down your answer in the chat. Do I want A? Do I want B? Do I want C? Oh no, Mbali, do you want to try and leave? Let me type a message here in case Mbali can't hear me. Okay, so we've got lots of B's coming in. We have an A. We've got another B, some B's. Oh, good. I'm glad, Mbali. Okay. Daneo, do you think you can tell us why you have chosen B? No? You can type it if you'd like to. Why did we go with future value? Okay. Okay, so the reason we're going to go with B is because we're saving for something in the future. Exactly, it's saving, exactly. Okay, so the key words that we needed to take here, there are 2 very important words. The first word is we see that he wants to save. That's telling us it's a future payment. Okay, the second important thing that we need to see is that it says monthly deposits, and that tells us it's an annuity. Okay, when we see these words in questions, that's what's important. Now, when we're trying to find N, they're not trying to trick you with anything else. The thing that they're testing is that you know how to choose the right formula and how to do logs on your calculator. So they're not trying to trick you. Remember in our last few lessons how I was trying to trick you with how many time periods it is. Those questions they will try and trick you, but not when it comes to finding N. Okay, so you've won half of the battle by choosing the right formula. We're saving, we're making monthly deposits as a future value annuity. All of the information you need is in this question. I want you from here to start this from beginning to end. This question would be worth between 3 and 4 marks in the end of your exam. And I want you to give me my answer. I know I'm asking a lot here because this is quite a big question and this is a lot of calculator work in this question. So I will talk it through slowly once I've got some answers coming in, but let's see if anyone can find the right end value. I'll give you a couple of minutes to try. I'll slowly start putting some things up on the screen for those of you who are really struggling to see what's what. Okay, I've put some things up on the side to help if you're struggling. I'm just going to slowly start putting it into our formula just so you can start seeing how things fit. Okay, so I've got really good news for you. If you were able to get to this point, oh, we have a first answer. See, I got a very different answer. I'm not saying that yours is wrong and mine is right. I will recheck mine, but mine is quite different. The good news is if you get to this point that you've written everything into this formula and you've chosen the right formula, if this question was out of 4 marks, you've actually already at least got 2, potentially 3, depending on where they've allocated the marks for each thing. So this step here is really important to get to. And then if we make a mistake with the logs, it's okay. Sometimes these questions can even be worth up to 5 marks if they're longer ones. So potentially a money-making question. Okay, I'm going to slowly start writing things up. See, now I've got a very similar answer. So now I'm really questioning my answer. I'm looking at my wrong answer. Guys, I got the same answer as you. Both I got 14,87. So good. We are all on the same page. Excellent. Yay! Another 14,87. Okay, so let's have a look as we put this all together. The first thing that we want to do, those of you who are struggling with your calculator work, we're going to do this step by step. Okay, the first thing we want to do, I'm going to get a different color so that you can see each step. Let's get this like ready color. We want to move this up. So we need to multiply it up. So we're going to have 235,000 times 9% over 12. Okay, so now that's moved up. I'm going to erase it so that we kind of know what we're doing as we go. The next thing that I'd want to do is I want to move this down. So I'm going to divide that by our 15,000. Okay, and at the moment, I'm left with 1 plus 9% over 12 to the power of n minus 1. Now, I want this to be isolated so that I can do my logs, which means I need to move that 1 onto that side. So I'm going to say plus 1 equals. Now, obviously, that was much easier for me to do because I can erase things. These questions, sometimes it's a good idea to do things in pencil as you move things around. If you struggle to see how things move, rather do it in multiple steps. But just know you don't get any marks for any of those steps. So don't do it because you think you're getting marks. Do it because you're needing to make sure things are where they need to be. Okay, cool. Then we can chuck that all in. And this all became, let me get this number right over here, 1,1175, and that was equal to 1 plus 9% over 12 to the power of n. Then we can chuck it into our logs. So log of 1 plus 9% of 12 to 1,1175 is equal to n, which means n is 14,87 payments. Okay. Now I want you to think about this carefully, because this is going to feed into our next lesson. What does this mean when I have a decimal? What does it mean to say I've had 14,87 payments? Can anyone tell me? Does anyone have an idea? Nope. Oh,
Ma'am, is it like, let's say, if the person has 14 whole payments, then due to the interest and stuff, there's a certain amount that doesn't make the full payment of that month?
That's exactly what it is. That's perfect. Well done. So what this means is it means I've had 14 payments of 15,000 Rand, because that was what my monthly payment was, and one smaller payment. So I would have had to, and this is the exact reason why we don't round up or round down, because if I was to round that up to 15, it's saying I've made 15 payments of 15,000 Rand, which I haven't done. I've made 14 payments of 15,000 Rand, and then I've made one smaller little payment. So in this case in Bali, it hasn't stayed in the account a little bit longer. That would be a situation where we have to take interest into account. So we have to add like a month's interest. The only thing with this is that I just haven't paid the full amount. Luyanda? Did you unmute for a question? No. Okay. So yeah, so in this case, it's not that it's like gaining more money or anything. It's just that once I've paid my 14th payment, it wasn't the whole amount. I just had a little bit extra to pay. And in our lesson next week, we'll be working out how you find out what that payment is actually worth. Benedict, how can I help?
Ma'am, could you go over this question again?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Can you let me know, Benedict, are you happy with how I found these values over here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Okay, so if we're happy with how we found those and we're happy with our formula, because we knew that it had to be something I'm saving for, so future, and then a monthly deposit. So that's telling me it's an annuity. So the two important things here is that we know it's the future value annuity formula, and we have our grocery list of information. Then we just put it all into our formula. So now I erased things as I went along here, so I'm just going to re-put this one in. So I've just put in all of those values that are in my grocery list into my future value annuity formula. That was the step over here. Next, I had to try and manipulate this equation so that I get the parts that I'm wanting to isolate. So I want this to be alone on one side so that I can do logs. And in order to do that, I need to move this 9% times 12 up, and that's why I multiply it. And then I need to divide by that 15,000. Then I would be left with all of that, and this -1 would be on that side. Now, because we're trying to isolate this situation, I want to move that +1 there. I then just put all of this into my calculator, and sometimes it will give you a fraction, which you can use as a fraction because then you're keeping the integrity of the number. Sometimes it gives you a nice decimal that we can also use. If it's a long decimal, then we really need to keep it in fraction form because otherwise we're going to mess with our answer. In this case, it gave us a nice decimal of 1,1175. And that was equal to 1 plus 9% over 12 to the power of n. Now, because this is isolated, I could put it into my log formula. Okay, and so I had log 1 plus 9% over 12, and then in my second bracket, 1,1175, and that's equal to n. The value I got for n was 14,87 payments. Then the last little bit that we were talking about here is the reason why we don't round up is because that means I've made 14 payments of 15,000 Rand, and I've made one payment, which was a little bit smaller, so a little bit less than 15,000 Rand. Does that make a bit more sense?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. I know that these are quite tough. They're a lot. It's a lot for the brain to process. Whew. Okay. Just keep on throwing you in the deep end, and I'm sorry. So, example 4. Tyrone has a home loan of 1.2 million Rand. He makes quarterly payments of 25,000 Rand. Jeez, that's a lot of money. In order to pay off the loan. If interest is 8% per annum, compounded quarterly, how long will it take to pay off the loan? Okay. I want you to look for your keywords here, and then I want you to tell me which formula I'm going to use, A, B, or C. Okay, we've got some B's and we've got some C's. Okay. It absolutely is C. So well done for everyone who said C. It very much is C. And the reason it's C is because we have a loan. So loan is telling us present value, and quarterly, so regular payments, that's telling us that's our X value, which means we know it is an annuity. Okay, so because of those keywords, we know that it's a present value annuity. Great. Again, I'm looking for how long, so I'm looking for N. Now, this one is a little bit nastier. When we have a present value question, it's a little bit meaner. So I am going to let you work through this yourself, but there is going to be a time where I kind of help you move along a little bit, because lots of people make a very silly mistake here that you don't need to make. So I want you to give it a go. Let's see what values you get for N. I have quite a big value for N, so if yours is also quite big, then don't panic. And let's see if anyone can make their way all the way from this beginning point to the end. So you've already chosen your formula, which was a great start. Write your grocery list with all of your information, put it into your formula, reduce it, and let's find N. And this one I'm going to go over with you quite slowly. Try not to panic with all of the words. Try take the keywords, and as soon as you see them, put them in your grocery list. So it's the loan, you have your present value, put it down. Quarterly payments, you have your value, put it down. I'm going to start writing things on the right-hand side. Just if you're working through this, just double check that you've got things where they need to be, just in case. So X value, 25,000. Our present value is 1.2 million. Our interest is 8% compounded quarterly. And our N value, we don't know. Okay, so my answer looks like one of the two answers in the chat, but it doesn't look like the other one. I'll say that much so far. And again, my answer looks like one of the two new ones that have just come through. Okay, if you got to this point here, you're already sitting on 2 marks. So that's a good place to be. Okay, now we're going to start manipulating it. So we're going to start moving things around. I'm going to do this step by step because these ones are quite nasty and I don't want you to make mistakes where you don't need to. The first thing we want to do is we want to move this guy up. So I'm going to have 1.2 million and I'm going to multiply that by 8% over 4. Okay. You really don't need to write all of these steps as you go. I'm just doing it so that everyone can understand where each step came from. Okay, so that was our first step. Next step, I have this 25,000, which I don't want here anymore, and I want to move it down there. So I'm going to have my 1.2 million. I've multiplied that by 8% over 4, and I'm dividing that by 25,000. And that's going to equal 1 minus 1 plus 8% over 4 to the power of negative n. Okay. When we get to this point over here, this is when we have to start being careful. So I've got lots of different options. And maybe do the one that you feel more comfortable with. Generally, what I suggest is because you see, the problem is if I move this 1 over and I just say that that's minus 1, I'll do that so that you can see what happens. It's equal to a negative over here, and I don't want to have that negative. So your first option is you can move that 1 over, but then you have to divide this all by a negative or multiply it by a negative so that that negative moves on to the other side. And then it goes away from here. That's your one option. The other option is we don't move that 1 just yet. And essentially, we move all of this onto that side, and we move this on to the other side. So what I land up with is 1 plus 8% over 4 to the negative n is equal to 1 minus 1.2 million times 8% over 4 over 25,000. Both ways you get to the same answer. So you must do whichever way you feel comfortable with. Now, when you put all of this on the right-hand side in your calculator, you actually get a really nice answer of just 1 over 25. So I'm going to write that step in now. So 1 plus 8% over 4 to the power of negative n is equal to 1 over 25. Now, I can't stress this enough, guys. When this comes to marking your exams, this top step up here, this step, that step is marked because that's where you put stuff in. None of this in the middle, none of this is worth any marks. That's all for you. So if you are needing to have lots of steps so that you can see what's going on, by all means, put in lots of steps. If you don't need to and you can see how it all fits in your head, then don't do the steps because you're wasting time for you. You're not wasting time if you need them because you're stopping yourself from making a mistake. Okay, so when we get to this point, now we can use our log laws. So I'm just going to go back to my blue. So now I'm going to say, and now it's not n, it's negative n, so be careful. Negative n is equal to log 1 plus 8% over 4 to the 1 over 25, and that will give you negative n, which is negative 162,55, and so n is 162,55, and that is our whole question. Now again, they asked here, they haven't asked how many payments, they've asked how long will it take to pay off the loan. So where would we go to from here? So that's how many payments I've made, but that's not how long. That's not a time period. What do I need to do with this number of 162,55?
Ma'am, do you divide it by 4?
I absolutely do. Well done. I'm going to divide that by 4 because I'm making 4 payments per year. And so I'm going to say 162,55 divided by 4. So you could say over there, just to make it clear to your marker that those were payments. And this would give you 40,6375 years. It's a lot of years. Okay, cool. Whew. Got one more like this, and then I've got some sneaky questions at the end. We'll see if we have time for. Okay, I've just thrown you in the deep end with this one because I have faith in you. I feel like you're all going to be able to do it. All right. How many monthly payments of 4,000 Rand will it take to pay off a gambling debt of 250,000 if interest is added at 5% per annum compounded monthly? Think about what it is. Think about your formula. Think about what things would be. Is this some money that I'm saving up to in the future, or is it money that I have now that I'm paying off over time? Think about that. Let's see if anyone can get 100% for this question. Okay, before things go to awry, I'm just going to take a second so that we make sure we're all on the same page with our formula. Which formula are we going to use here? Present value, future value, compound? Let me know. Yes, good. Present value indeed. We are 100% using present value. We have a debt, so think of it like as a loan. We have this big amount of money that we have to pay off over time. Present value. Excellent. I'm going to write our present value formula just in case anyone doesn't have it in front of them. Think about what your X value is. Think about what your present value is. Think about what your I is. And then just be careful with that manipulation of the formula. And let's see if we can find n. Oh, we already have an answer. Nice. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong yet, though. I'm just going to let you sit with it. Okay. So again, if you got to this point here where you subbed everything incorrectly, you're already sitting on at least 2 marks, sometimes 3. So that's a good place to be. Then we're going to start doing our manipulation of things. So I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to multiply that by 5% over 12, and I'm going to move my 4,000 down. And that's equal to 1 minus 1 plus 5% over 12 to the power of negative n. Okay, now I'm personally a fan of moving the 1 over and just making this all a negative. That's just how my brain works with these questions. But if you prefer to move the 1 to the other side and the other 1 to the other side, that's also absolutely fine. You must do what you feel comfortable with. So, oh, sorry, I've taken away your options from you. We've got 72,555 for A, 72 for B, and 73 for C. And the question is, how many monthly payments would there be? Okay, so we've got 2 A's at the moment. Another A. So when I work this out on this side, I actually get 71 over 96, which is like a nice fraction. And that's equal to 1 plus 5% over 12 to the negative n. And then we can chuck it into our log. So negative n is equal to log 1 plus 5% over 12, 71 over 96. And this is when our moment of glory comes out. Negative n is negative 72,55, which means n is 72,55. And let's read the question and make sure we're answering what it's saying. It asked for how many monthly payments would there be, but be careful. It says, how many monthly repayments of 4,000 Rand will it take? So now we need to be careful, and we need to break this answer up a little bit, like we did for one of those previous questions. This means 72 payments of 4,000 Rand. And this means 1 smaller payment. Now, I know that this may take a little bit longer to write out, but the clearer you can be to your marker is better. So basically, the way that I sort of tell my kids about this is when you're writing your exam, you want to assume that your marker knows nothing. So you kind of explaining your thought process to them so that they can see exactly what you're doing, so that if you've made a mistake somewhere, they can carry on and follow on what you've done, and you can still get continued accuracy marks. When it comes to the end of a question like this, just to make sure there isn't any sort of ambiguity, just make sure you kind of say, this is what I think, and make it super, super clear. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time left. So we're going to go on to these sneaky questions that I have. Oh, sorry, let me just wait here for a second. Does anyone have any questions about what we've done so far today? So I've been sneaky. I found some past paper questions. These were the marks that they were out of. And I thought we could kind of get an idea of what we would get if we did these in an exam situation. So this first question was taken out of the May-June 2019 exam. And these first two questions were both worth 3 marks. So in total, this question is worth 6 marks. And then the second question here was from the 2017 matric exam. So I'm actually going to give you, some of you work quite quickly. And so I think you might actually be able to get through most of these. Some of you maybe are working a little bit slower, which is totally fine. And then maybe you'll only get through the first one, also okay. I will give you some time to work through these. I want you to kind of view these questions as like a mini test for yourself. So just establishing where we're at with this type of work. Let's see what you land up getting out of 10, because this is 10 marks. And this is all from matric exams. So this is the level that you should be expecting. So give it a go. Start with question 1. See how question 1 goes. If it went fine and you're happy with your answers, give question 2 a go. Then we'll go through all of the answers and we'll see if anyone gets 10 out of 10. I will say for question 1.1, you should see from your decimals that it wants to be a whole number. This will make more sense when you have an answer, but you can round off question 1.1 to a whole number because you're going to need that number in 1.2. Since it's per annum, do I leave the I as 15% or divide by 12? In this case, you would just leave it as 15% because they haven't said compounded monthly. Only divide by 12 if they say compounded monthly. I am loving that answer. I'm loving both of those answers. So I'm not going to be able to fit it all in. I'm going to make a little, so I'm just make my pen really thin. Maybe I'll be able to fit more in. Okay, I'm just going to sort of write in the important information at the top. So we would have 79866,96, and that's equal to 180,000. 1 minus 15% to the power of n. And then you're going to do log, and you should get your answer of n is 4,999. So n is 5 years. Beautiful. I'm seeing lots of 5 years, and that's great. Obviously, I'm not showing all of your working here, partly because we're running out of time and partly because I don't have space. But you should all be getting 5. Okay. Now we're going to use that 5 in 1.2. So if you got to this point over here, then, so basically if you had sort of if you substituted everything incorrectly in that first step, you would have 2 marks, and then you would get a mark for your final answer of 5. 1.2, don't overthink it. Okay, so Ayush, I get the same answer as you there. I didn't get the same answer as who was just before that. Okay, so when we're looking through this, yeah, okay, good. I'm getting the same answers here. This situation, this money was just deposited into a savings account. It isn't a future value, present value situation because they weren't regular payments. So it's not an annuity. The interest rate was 10% compounded quarterly, has enough been accumulated within those 5 years. So we're just going to put it in, yeah, exactly, no, good. We're going to just put it into our formula. We have A, which is 49,000, 1 plus 10% over 4 to the power of 20, because it's 5 years times 4, because there's 4 payments per year. And that gives us 80292,21. And so no, he won't have enough. Okay, again, in this situation, this is worth 3 marks. You'd probably only get 1 mark for substitution there, 1 mark for your answer, and 1 mark for saying no. Cool.
Then
Yeah.
it's a no. Like, are they asking if, isn't the value 79,800?
Oh my goodness, you are completely right, Ayush. I was so wrong and you were so right. The value of the car is definitely 79,866. So he definitely can. Thank you for that correction. Goodness, keeping me on my feet. I'm so glad. Well done. And there was a yes earlier, and then I was like, oh no, you're wrong. I'm sorry, I took that glory away from you, but you were absolutely right. You said yes earlier. Good. Okay. Sure. Okay, last question here. We are running out of time. So I might have to those I'm sorry. You have every right to be cross with me. If we have a look at question 2, it's also very similar. You have a situation. I don't want to say too much because I think I'm going to give it away. And we're just looking for an n value. So think about which formula you're going to use. Think about what you're going to substitute into that formula. Is it compound? Is it simple? Is it present value? Is it future value? What am I going to do here? I have to be so horrible and I have to just give you the answer because our time is gone. I wish we had many more hours together. Okay, so the loan was taken out. And so as soon as we see the words loan, we need to think, well, this is going to be a present value situation. Okay, we know our monthly installments. We know our present values. Our present value is 46,000. Our monthly payments are 1,900. Then we have 1 minus 1 plus 24% compounded monthly, so over 12 to the power of negative n, and that's all going to be over 24% over 12. Now, if you get to this point, 2 marks for yourself. Okay, you're going to manipulate this, and then you're going to be putting it into your logs. Your logs will eventually look like this. And you should see that n is equal to 33,43. And so that is how many payments would be needed. So how many payments of 1,900? 33 payments of 1,900 and one smaller payment. Okay, I'm sorry that we ran out of time, guys. I've had a lot of fun tonight. I hope that you were able to learn something. I hope you were able to tell you got the answer. Yes, good. Okay. I hope you were able to take something away from tonight, and that we're slowly sort of making financial maths a little bit more manageable. And I'm going to pass on to Coco.
Thank you so much, Ms. G. That was very enlightening, actually. I also learned a couple things myself. Okay, I'm just going to quickly share my screen for everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm pretty sure most of you have met me. I am Coco. I am one of the tutors here at Watobi. If you ever have a question while you're working on the app, I'm probably the voice on the other side that will say hi and try and help you out with your maths. Okay, so we're just going to have a look quickly at some of the logistics of today. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. So this is what we've gone through so far. We are currently on lesson 4. Well, we just finished lesson 4, which was determining the value of n. Next week, Tuesday, we'll be looking at balance of a loan and final payments. And then on lesson 6, Ms. G will be taking you guys through some of the questions that you're most likely to come across in your exams. Okay, this is our leaderboard that we've been looking at. I know it looks exactly the same as it did on Tuesday, and that is not by mistake. If you have done your exercises, they will be updated for us tomorrow. So by the time we get to it next week, Tuesday, we might have a little bit of a shuffle of names. I'm hoping to see some new names on the leaderboard. You know, somebody needs to give Untitled a run for his money. So you guys should come out and try and as many exercises as you can on financial maths, and we'll see how the leaderboard looks by next week. Okay, so the homework that we're going to be doing for today, we're all going to go to topics and we're going to pick finance. And then we're going to look at present value annuities. And this time, instead of the summary, we're going to be looking at the lesson called Calculate N in a Present Value Annuity. So that's the first one. This is the homework that we'll be doing. And we will also be doing a quiz set by Ms. G herself. So it will be on the homework or on the work that we've done so far, I think from about lesson 1 to lesson 3. And you will find this as soon as you click into the topics, it'll be the very first one that you see as you come on. So as soon as you click on finance, you're going to see the finance quiz and then finance quiz 2. We recommend that you only do finance quiz 1 because finance quiz 2 is set on the stuff that she's still going to go through. So we're just all going to be looking at finance quiz, the first one, and we just want to see how you guys are doing in regards to that. Okay, and that's all that we have for you guys today. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Really great to see all of you guys with us today. I hope you guys took a lot out of this lesson. There was a lot to learn, especially for your prelims. Can I just get a show of hands to see how many of you guys are writing your prelim exams at the moment? You can just use your reactions and put your hand up or write in the chat. We just want to see how many of you guys are actually writing your prelims. Or if you're not, you can also tell us if you aren't actually writing any, because I know the government's doing funny things with Corona and everything. Oh, I see Sia and Mbali are also writing their prelims. Oh, I got a thumbs down. Who was that? No, are you guys not writing exams? Oh my goodness, Benedict, you're writing maths paper. Oh, is it paper 1 or paper 2 tomorrow? Oh my word, okay. Sure, guys, I know the pressure is probably mounting. This is like you guys' final year. I hope you guys are preparing yourselves. Well, you are obviously you're here with us, so that's awesome to see. And guys, once you write, please don't feel shy to just message us on the app. We would really love to know how you guys are doing maths wise. We want to know how your prelims are going, how any of your exams are going. We want to encourage you guys and come along with you guys on this journey. We're here to help. Okay, That's all that we're going to be doing for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. You can all unmute and say bye-bye to Miss G. We will see you guys all next week, Tuesday. Yes.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, guys. That's such a cute picture. Did you see?
I know. You guys have the coolest
Thank
pictures
you, ma'am.
ever.